Hello, I am Kaiju Crazy, and this is my review of the SH Monsterarts 70th Anniversary Burning Godzilla. Let's go. So, this figure recently released about September time, and it was a re-release. Well, not quite a re-release. It was like a repaint of the original SH Monsterart Burning Godzillas, but this one has had some new additions to do with its burning effects, as well as new accessories, which just really make this one unique and worth buying. This is actually my second time recording this video, because I was midway, well, I basically finished, and then my mic died, so I'm basically gonna do it again. So the box, everything's been taken out of it. It has a picture of the figure in a nice scenic shot. Has logos of brands, licensing. On this side shows the 70th anniversary logo, as well as the name of the figure. This side shows warnings, what you get, what you're paying for, and then who's made it. And then this side's a nice sleeve of the figure itself, and you'll see that within. Yeah, it's a really nice box, and if you do keep boxes like I do, then it looks quite nice. So, moving on to the figure itself, it is unique in the way of such. It is got metallic paint over its burning effects. This adds to the whole illusion that it is truly burning, and this wasn't present on any of the other figures, Burning Godzillas released. And yeah, this is definitely a step up in terms of what you get compared to the old ones. You definitely get the most with this one compared to the others. Just propping the camera off a little bit. Hold on. There we go. So you're definitely getting more worth compared to the others. It would have been cool if it came with the smoke effects from the prior release, but either way, it is really cool. And then moving on to articulation. Articulation-wise, you get a ball joint at the neck. Now, this sometimes tucks under here, so it may just be a little bit of a tug to get it out, but that's all good. Ball joint there. Hinge at the mouth. I think it's a hinge. It might be a ball joint. I know some of the other Heisei Godzilla figures had a ball joint, and especially the recent 1991. I own that, and I will compare it later on. It is painful to get that jaw back on if it comes loose. But no, I haven't had that issue with this one. The eyes, obviously they don't move, but you know. So in terms of then arm articulation, you get ball joint at the arm. Goes up about that much, goes down about that much, and goes, I think you could probably get it. No, it goes about that up, and it goes about, no, you can do a full loop, but yeah, I wouldn't do it because you can feel the figure grinding against itself. So I probably would just go to like a halfway of each way. Joint here to give you a bit extra posability. That can fully swivel round. Good bend at the elbow. With this joint, you can nearly get a full bend, which is nice, and then nearly fully straight, you get quite a good range. Wrists, full turn. Now, this is the actual alternate hand for it, because in the previous recording, I'd shown it off, but so when it comes to the accessories, I'll show them compared. Moving down to the waist, you get 2 joints, one at the upper, one at the lower. I think it's 2, yeah. And it provides a little bit of a bend, not as much as some of the others, but it's there, and it does help with posing. Legs, you can go back that much, like forward that much, but you do get a gap, so probably that much is your limit. Knees, you get a little bit out of them, that much back, that much forward, and then your ankles, that's like straight, and that's like how much they go, so not too much, but I wish that did go a bit more that way, but it's fine. Tail, you get a main supporting ball joint here, which will do most of the heavy lifting, and then you just get a few. I do have a few issues with tail popping off around here. As you can see, it's sort of a little bit loose, but yeah, it's not like a major problem. And the tail is a smidgy bit stiff, and I can't quite figure out what's a ball joint, what's a sleeve. But yeah, now moving on to the looks. So now looking at the figure aesthetically, you get some really nicely, I think they're printed eyes, but yeah, they look really nice. I know the old ones had issues with the eyes being a bit all over the place, but this one seems to not have it too bad. Chest wise, you get, like I said, it's a see-through transparent plastic, but then you have a like some metallic-y paint, so it starts yellow and then it moves up to like an orange, then it disappears, which adds to that fiery effect, which makes him look molten. The legs carry that same effect across it, with some spots which are just the see-through, like under the belly there. Then moving down to this back, it has a just see-through, no metallic, but yeah, that looks nice. The claws, they're painted nicely. Feet, yeah, about the same, they look really nice. So the tail has then just got like a really nice, like, light grey over the dorsals. Now, I think some people do complain that it stops really abruptly here and here, but that is how he is. He doesn't actually really glow any of this down here. And I don't think these glow until the very end, when I think he's melting away. Could be wrong, but yeah. So moving on to the accessories. So, moving on to the accessories, you get a alternate pair of hands. So here's one of each. This is the usual hand, and then you get these more open ones. I think the biggest differences are on each hand itself, so that's quite a decent difference. It's nice to have the hands, although they aren't the biggest importance. It is nice. You get the classic arm to plug into your stands and that. And then you get a beam and display stand that is held together with the arm. So you plug this in with a hole just here. Oh wait, no. It is around here. Oh, there. So that just plugs into that nicely, sort of. If you can, yeah, there we go. And then you can plug this into the stand. This is a really nice beam, see-through plastic, along with the base. Yeah, this looks really nice. You can then use the 70th anniversary stand it comes with. You can put the stand into like these little holes here, and that can also be used as like a beam stand if you didn't want the fire effect here. This is mainly just there though for him to stand on or display reasons. That's quite nice. The accessories are probably the best we've gotten so far, although I do think they could have gone. I would have probably have wanted to maybe even pay like a little bit more if they could give us the smoke effects, and I think then this would be the definitive SH Monsterarts burning, and probably even definitive not Monsterarts burning in general, although I think this probably is already. So now moving on to some size comparisons. Okay, so I've put him into a pretty basic pose, which you might have him in. So here he is next to the 1991 Heisei Godzilla. They are actually quite different sculpts. I think hands might be the same, although they do seem to be different. A bit thinner actually on here. Height-wise, they're basically the same. I think Burning just looks maybe a little bit smaller in some ways because he can't stand as upright. But I reckon if you spent a bit of time, you could get him to stand upright. Tail length, actually, I think he's actually got a longer tail as well. Might be the same, actually. But yeah, these do look really nice next to each other. So now, moving on to the 2019 poster version. Now, this figure is basically the same size as all other Monsterverse figures we've gotten. So what you get here is the size of all the others. It's about the same again. This is really nice. Yeah. So now, moving on to the Higher Toys Shimo, which I like to use as a size comparison because this was a very popular figure. And a lot of people seem to have it. This looks really nice. The scale of the Burning Godzilla is not too small, so you do feel like you do get a lot with him, and especially because he's in that 6-inch scale, sort of. He might be a bit more, a bit less, because he's not quite the base form. And then compared to my previous review and my first review is the Ling Ji-hun leatherback. Let me just get him stood up right. Oh, there we go. This figure's huge. And to be honest, even though this figure's really big, it does stand out still. It's not completely like destroyed in terms of it, like what you see. And I think the colours on him definitely draw your eyes to him a lot. So yeah. Now moving on to my final thoughts. So this figure, I would definitely say, has become like I said before, the definitive Burning Godzilla, because I know Higher Toys has theirs upcoming, but I'm not the biggest fan of the proportions on it. I may get it if it does appear to be good, but so far I'm not quite sold on it. And then you have the Super 7, which I don't own anything off them, and I have heard some things about them. saying that it's like it's like a good sized product, like very big, but then it's like has a bit of that more toy feel, a bit more plasticky and lighter. Whether that's true, I don't know, and if I am proven wrong and they are really good, then I may get one day and review them. I'd definitely recommend this figure. Once I get that Destroyer figure, I'll compare it next to this, because that's probably most likely what some people would like to put next to it. And yeah, price-wise, £120 British pounds, so like $130, $140. It's not bad. I always buy my stuff off Cowkiss now, and they have really good shipping speeds and all that. So definitely recommend them if you are buying figures. And they've started expanding into more other brands like Nanmu, which I do like collecting their stuff. I've got their Tyrannosaur on the way, and their saltwater crocodile was just released this morning. Well, not released, but revealed. So yeah, price-wise, this figure's amazing. Sculpt-wise, it's awesome. I would really recommend it if you like the film or anything related to it. And it stands out on your shelf. It looks like a bit of a centerpiece, so it's definitely not just like another Godzilla. So yeah, that's my final thoughts and what I think of this figure. In terms of stuff coming up next, Destroyer is going to be the most recent thing I review when that gets released. I'll also probably... I'm going to start doing a video a day, like a review a day, for about a week or so. And then once I've built up this channel, I'm going to probably start doing 1 to 2 videos a week, just so I don't burn through all my collection and then I have like a dry spell of stuff I can't review. So then, yeah, I would also like to thank everyone for the, I think 50 something views I've now gotten on my previous and first review. Yeah, I really appreciate all the support I've been getting so far. And yeah, big thank you and goodbye.